Good morning, everyone. Hope you are well. Happy Friday. I have the honour of, I think, doing the last of these devotionals for the Fear series. I think it's the last one. I'm not sure. Ant and Helen may wrap it up, but I think this is the last one before we kind of come out of lockdown. So I'm honoured to be doing it. And today I want to share a little bit about 1 Samuel 17 onwards, which is the story of David and Goliath. And when I was thinking about courage, this story kind of came to mind instantly as quite an obvious depiction of courage in the Bible. And for those of you, I'm sure you all do know it, but for those of you who don't know the story, essentially the Israelites are at war with the Philistines, and one of the Philistine soldiers is a giant called Goliath, and he basically puts a challenge out to the Israelite army saying, kind of, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. Basically challenge me, winner takes all, who wants to come and battle me, winner takes all. We'll kind of decide on this one battle with me and you, kind of man to man. And every morning he comes out, and every morning the challenge isn't taken up by the Israelites, and they kind of shrink away, and they don't want anything to do with the challenge. Then this goes on for a while, and one of the kind of teenage Hebrew shepherds at the time is a chap called David, and he shows up and with some food for the soldiers, and here's this giant basically goading the soldiers on and being like, come on then, who wants to battle me one-on-one, let's go, kind of goading God as well, and goading their Lord. And he wasn't happy about it, so basically takes a slingshot, some stones, and goes and challenges this giant. And he grabs some stones, slings them at the giant's head, hits his head, knocks him out, and then slays him with a sword, and chops his head off. So this teenage boy comes out of nowhere, isn't expected to do anything like this, and basically decides enough is enough, and this can't go any longer, and decides to take up the challenge and move forward in slaying the giant. So kind of what we tend to see is that kind of David is this, Rocky Balboa, big underdog, coming against a big, powerful kind of figure like Goliath. And they see him as a kind of a self-confident young man, brave enough to fight what he believed in, and wasn't going to kind of conform to conventional tactics. The fact that he was a teenager had nothing to do with it, so he wanted to kind of step up to the plate. And the kind of moral of the story that usually goes along with this is that, get out there, face your own giant, the courageous will kind of prevail, and that is a great moral, but there is a kind of deeper meaning to this as well, that even though David was courageous when he faced the giant and Goliath, that his courage was essentially being empowered by something else, that the fact that he wasn't fearful was being empowered by something else, and that was the source. The source of that was David's courage and deep confidence in God. It wasn't self-generated. It wasn't anything like that. He wasn't this kind of action hero who kind of went into battle and he's just cool guy and look at me, I know what I'm doing. He kind of in the preceding chapter gets told that he's going to be the next king of Israel, and he is anointed as the next king of Israel. And he obviously knew this information going into this, and he also has lots and lots of instances in where God had helped him in the past that he's drawing on. And that is his wellspring of courage. That is where his courage comes from. That he wasn't self-confident, but he was God-confident. That God was the one providing that confidence and that courage for him. And I guess what I wanted to say was that where does our source of courage come from? Is it ourselves? Are we trying to do it ourselves, or are we letting God kind of be the one who gives us courage and the one that kind of casts our fear aside? Courage is never self-generated. It's usually kind of generated by something else, whether that be faith in God or something else. But sometimes the Goliath in our sight is larger than God itself. People can kind of get swept away in that and think that the problem they have in front of them and the issue they have in front of them is never going to get resolved, and it's never going to be kind of taken away. But David remembered in that time that the Goliath literally in front of him was beatable, and that the courage he needed would be given by God, and he didn't feel fearful. Even though David, if you do read through Psalms, was quite a fearful and anxious person, he's often kind of crying that out in the Psalms as well. So our battle isn't with a giant, it's not with flesh and blood, but it's kind of with the kind of cosmic powers and the spiritual kind of aspect of this earth. So it's sin. Our Goliath is sin. It's the kind of spiritual forces of kind of wickedness and evil that may try to trip us up on our journey of kind of growing with God, in developing our relationship with God. And kind of these giants we feel are very intimidating to us, our flesh, as human beings. But we have to remain confident, and we have to know that God has done it before and he will do it again. And that our courage and our commitment to that needs to come from God. It's not a self-confidence, it's a God confidence. So just wanted to encourage you guys this week in kind of moving forward after this lockdown, moving into the new year, into Christmas, that your courage comes from God, and it should come from God, and you need to be kind of drawing close to him and reminding yourself of things that he not only has done for you previously, but remembering the things that he's promised for you as well. And hopefully those Goliaths won't seem so big, and you can overcome them as well. So hopefully that was helpful and a little bit of a motivation for your day. I hope you have a good one. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. I think we're going to meet soon, hopefully, given the lockdown restrictions are lifting. So hopefully we'll get to see each other face to face again. But have a great day, have a great weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.